Good morning. Mario Saldana. All scruffy, scruffy. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. You guys, this is the murder for hire. I can't wait till they get that murder for hire hit up out in Idaho. If you know, you know. Megan Kelly cracks me up, man. Megan Kelly, man. Wake up, people. Let's go. It's Hump Wednesday. 40 people in here. I want to see 40 likes. We live. They're supposed to start this at 8:30, and they didn't start at 8:30. Um, I was up all night. Me and Jennifer Drake were talking all night. Me and my dreams. What's up, Boston, baby down? Baby down. I was doing so much reading yesterday between P. Diddy's stuff, Turtle Boy stuff, Jennifer Drake stuff. What's up, Amy Boston? I was going over those Turtle Boy docs because I was looking into something. P. Diddy's a goner. Let's see. Today is October the 2nd, all day, guys. A research day yesterday. I was going to go live last night, and I was like, I found some sick stuff, so I had to keep on going. So I got Shanna Gardner this morning, and hopefully we might get a trial date. I don't know. She wants to just put one down. And then, like I said, I'll be covering Turtle Boy's letter by Mark Bedrow. Jennifer Drake, I got some bombshells coming out hot over there. I'm doing a ton of filming in my Jennifer Drake, Brian Drake, Dr. Moore stuff. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome. And then I was talking with my hairdresser, because I'm going to shave my head off. She was wondering where the hell I was. I'm usually in to get my blonde. Citizen Sleuth, what's good? I got an interesting phone call yesterday. Jennifer Drake's friend asked me out on a date. What's up, girl? How you doing? That swinger lifestyle over there in Idaho is real. I was like, are you a stripper or just a mom? Because I only go out with strippers. Yeah. I asked her if she saw my Tinder profile. I was like, how'd you get this number, girl? She said Jennifer's attorney. I'm just kidding. The White Rose is so bumping right now. Can I be the chaperone just to be a fly on that wall? Oh, we could talk about swinging all day. I swear everybody's got swinging on their mind. Because then my one friend from back in the day, this guy calls. He doesn't call me. He writes me. He's like, hey, do you want to hang out? I'm like, what? I haven't talked to you like 5 years. Do I want to hang out? Like, that's really random. Well, I was thinking that we can go to the sex club. I'm like, I was like, no. I was like, why are you going to go to the sex club? I was like, you better go get yourself background check first because they just don't want anybody in that motherfucker. Cowbell for Jennifer? Yeah. I swear yesterday was like you'd have thought it was like a Friday the 13th. Do you want to hang out? I was even go to the sex club. I know, right? Like not he was being dead serious. And it was funny because I was like, I had to take a double take. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Would be fun to get freaky with you. Have you gone there yet? About died. He's like, let's get together. I said, go Bucks. Would you go with me to the swingers club? I said, LOL. What? He's like, is that a no? I said, which place? I've just heard about Princeton. He said, could be fun. I said, oh, I'm a member there already. Go Browns. He's like, shut up. Oh man, I want to go. I'm president with Shannon Gardner. Those are my messages. Frank Cassoni is on Zoom. Thank you. Good morning. Morning, peoples on behalf of Shannon Gardner. All right. Here we go. Thank you. Good morning. All right. Is there anything I want to take up first? The parties emailed about a trial date and the discovery schedule. I have to take that to that. It sets out deposition dates as well as the trial date. The trial date that we proposed is October 20th, and jury selection 2025. I believe originally there was a discussion about 3 weeks. For totality, I think we should go to the 4th week just in case things move over. Fortunately, we don't have an agreed date as yet. I think we're close. It's just that the defense team, we have been communicating back and forth, but I've got confirmation of the October dates from the prosecution this morning. It's not to their fault. They received the final dates last night, but we've got members in our team that are in trial right now, so I haven't heard back from them. So I anticipate that those dates may work, but the larger issue that the defense, I can say both teams have, is that we're still in the throes of discovery, and we're not picking dates. So we can't hold ourselves to any dates when we're still going through discovery. So the dates that we're proposing, which I think may work in October, is with a caveat that the discovery is completed no less than 6 months prior. So as long as we have all the discovery, and I know there's still some motions to compel outstanding, the last one was in May, and we're still waiting for the returns on that. So as long as the discovery is done, then we can anticipate 6 months from that. So I guess that would put us sometime in April if the state could complete. If not, then we would need to revisit the trial dates. Okay. Let me ask this. So the state believes your case in chief would be what? And the sound's the sound. I tried to turn it up.
Factoring jury selection over 2 weeks.
So what do you tell me exactly? So you believe like what a week of jury selection?
Jury selection will last a week. I believe our bill phase for both defendants will last approximately a week, and I think billing phase will last 2 or 3 days. More time on back end.
The guilt phase is only a week.
But we can, as we get closer, we can obviously cut from the back end of that. Since we're setting out so far, I think it's intelligent to Wednesday, so it's not a full week. We did the 10th, so it's really just 4 extra days back in case we have some major issue come up. I think we can accomplish guilt phase from the state's perspective. That includes the business. It would be a full.
Given the large number of discovery, text messages, electronic discovery, cell phone issues, experts that the defense has hired in regard to the cell data issues, albeit very early to say what our trial schedule would be like, a week for both the state's case and the defense case seems unrealistic at this time.
Totally unrealistic.
What I would ask is that, and as people, I hate to push, but I think that I understand that y'all are in the middle of discovery. I just, like I said, in the last court date, I think that if we keep kind of just going this path without any kind of end date goal in the resolution of these matters, this case could take 5, 6, 7 years, because I think that the way things are going, I think that we all need, and it takes a lot of preparation. It's not like this is a week-long trial. There are lots of considerations, I think, on all sides, and I think the number of lawyers, and the earlier we get a date in mind, the better off we will all be. That will be marked off on everyone's calendar. We will make the appropriate sacrifices or whatever we have to do to make it happen. And I'm committed to give you all whatever time you need, but I have to be able to communicate within the circuit, the number of jurors. That is not easy, and that's not something that can get turned around in a short period of time. So as much heads up, that would be a year from now, more than a year actually. And so, who is in trial that you can't hear from?
Pat Carmody, we literally just got the message this morning, and he's
All right, I'm gonna pass it temporarily.
pass it to.
In a moment, go give him a call.
No, he's actually in jury selection right now.
Okay, I'll wait.
All right.
Because she's wondering, what the hell did you guys do for this past week? You couldn't talk to him to look at his calendar to see when this trial date could be? I agree with the judge. Like, okay, I'll wait. Call him. She said, call him. He's in jury selection. That's fine. Call him. I'll wait. I fucking love this judge. Like, go give him a call. Call him up. This is amazing. This is so amazing. This is crazy to think that the state says, hey, this is going to be, we see the guilt innocent phase 1 week. Because they're like, well, we have our guy that's going to be testifying, Henry Tenon, okay, that's going to be saying, I was hired and I shot Jared Bridigan. But what they're forgetting here is you're going to talk about how the hell you got to Henry Tenon. That's not lost on the defense. Okay. Not much though. Lan, anything to say? I strongly question. I think that Mario Saldana, I think that he's involved. But I question, I think that Mario Saldana was trying to save his little, he had a nice little life and they were getting divorced. So, I mean, this is just, I've never heard of paying for a hit after the fact. It goes against everything. you can't conspire to commit murder, but there be no conspiring beforehand. Okay. It just doesn't work that way. Shanna Gardner would have to be in on the conspiring, you know, and this tire just miraculously is on the front lawn. So, and saying that 60 and 70-year-old women were conspiring by having a thread and saying that they know, do you know anybody that's like Chris Angel to make somebody disappear? Like, do you understand that if they were to take that to the police, let's say, before anybody would have been killed or hurt or anything, I've taken language like that to the police, okay, and they said that's not a threat. That's not a threat. Like I couldn't. You can't even get a protection order with that. Like they have to physically, you know, say they're going to harm you. Like it's more like making a joke, you know. If I was to take that text message and say, okay, hey, police, they're looking for someone like Chris Angel to make somebody disappear. And you want me to do what with that? Well, I want a protection order. I took something that I think is worse than that to the police. I want to press charges, you know. And you guys know that conspiring is its own crime. Even if something doesn't come, like even whatever you're conspiring about, if it doesn't, you know, come to fruition, like you can still be charged with conspiring, even if you don't go through with said act, or even if you go through, but it doesn't work. Conspiring is conspiring, and you can be charged with, conspiracy. But it's like, why don't they ever use, why can't we ever go forward with that? Why does something like, nothing even has to happen. Once you find out that people were conspiring to do something, it's a crime in of itself. Okay, it's an individual act, yes. So I want to know why more things aren't done with people conspiring. And that's why I laugh when people are like, you're a conspiracy theorist. And I'm like, you do know that that's a crime to conspire, right? It's a crime. I goes fucking spin, man. I can't even listen to that shit. Somebody hitting you up to try to like get you to do hey, let's do this. Hitting you up to say, hey, let's try to do this, that, or the other. They're conspiring. Okay. And it can be in a criminal sense, and it can be in a civil sense. So if they go forward with like an October 2025 trial date that they're saying, that could potentially be during the Brian Kohlberger case. If Idaho 4 starts in September. So, yeah, Mary, absolutely. I agree with that. You're testing the waters to see who would do what with you. Okay. So this is the Shanna Gardner. This is the Jared Bridegan case. This is the murder for hire in Jacksonville Beach. This is a very wild way that they're saying that this all went down. To pay somebody after the fact, no money changing hands before, and in the terms of checks. But then we actually, like, this is Jose Baez's case. I think it's interesting that what the fuck? What's up, Eddie? All right. These people need, this cameraman needs to lose his job. So right now we're leaning towards a fall 2025, so a year from now. I love this judge. We're going to start seeing, though, like a ton of motions. We're going to probably have another bail hearing. We're going to start seeing Frank's motions. We're going to suppression hearings. There's still a what you call a taint team going through stuff, but there's still got to be a ruling on if Mario Saldana and Shanna Gardner have the, what do you call it, spousal, if they have spousal protections, privilege, if their communication is able to be protected, and yeah. Well, while this is going on, I will tell you that what's going on in the Turtle Boy case is wild, absolutely wild. And I cannot believe that they have not dropped this yet. But I feel like even if they did drop it, I mean, Turtle Boy has I mean, they violated the F out of that man's rights. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? These bastards. Oh, great. Awesome. You guys, the Judge Kite just said, you can go ahead and call defense counsel while he's in voir dire, jury selection, and you can ask him what date works. She's like, I'd be pissed too. She's like, what? You didn't talk to him all week? I get that he's prepping for a trial, but he doesn't have, 5 minutes to look at his calendar to throw out some possible dates. Lana, you should listen at all the hot mic before. I was listening to it, but I didn't think it was about that case. There was a different judge in there. Y'all wild here.
Oh, yeah.
This is body cam footage from Shanna Gardner getting arrested.
You want me to go get her shoes?
Look at them. She wanted to like just turn herself in and not have all this stuff going on. But they wanted to make this scene. Like, is that necessary due to her kids?
To the front if you want.
Like, why would you do that to kids?
Yep.
Like, what's with people just fucking with kids, man?
So give it in.
Pisses me off. That's why this is all blurred like that. Because you can see kids in that doorway.
Yeah. Yeah, is that okay? Is that okay? Okay.
They let her change. ATF, fugitive,
Abby,
task force, drugs.
Let's say you have orders on the Instagram that is managing for you. You have orders to just have grandma help you get into. Where are your teams, Mom?
You hear the kids? Do you see this? The two twins are witnessing this. And she has orders for this Instagram that she's managing. Now, this is what I have issues with. In this case, something that has just broken in the past, what they want to say, a couple weeks, is ATF released a 250-page, whether it's a document, whether it's multiple documents, and they said that the kids said when they were searching this place, they were using the words burner phone. And why are you searching the house and talking to the kids? Why? Wait, excuse me? If you're going to search the home, awesome. Why are the kids in there when you are conducting a search? And why are you talking to the kids? Like, so like, I think some of that stuff, like, I'm sorry, but I think Jose Baez is going to have a damn field day. Because who are you talking? Why are you talking to these kids? Like, what are you doing? And then this should all be on body cam. They have body cam right here. So whatever they were doing inside that home, it should all be on body cam. They think that this trial of innocence and guilt phase is only going to last a week. The state just came out and said that. And I'm over here like, wait, what? Y'all had a bail hearing that took one whole day. But the state's case, and this is what the thing is, they don't think that they have to, like, here, we're going to call to the stand who? Detective Johns to talk about his investigation. There's way more people involved than Detective Johns. Okay. But then we have Detective Johns and we have Henry Tenen, because Henry Tenen's the guy that he did the shooting, and he's just going to testify and say that, yeah, I know Mario Saldana and Mario Saldana paid me. Well, okay, no, he didn't. After the fact, I thought he paid you for landscaping. I thought you were a worker, but how about this? How did you even get to Henry Tenen? Henry Tenen didn't just come forward. Why would you wait all of those months to be interviewing Mario Saldana's tenants, okay, that have criminal history? You would have ran all of these names of Mario Saldana's tenants, okay, and Henry Tenen's blue truck would have been registered to him because he did it when he got it from his dad, when he went to Georgia to go get that truck. And they would have known immediately who Mario Saldana's tenants were. It's not that there was that many, it was just a couple people. And they would have seen the vehicles that were attached to them and would have realized that the truck that they supposedly were looking for was literally a truck that Henry Tenen had. Okay. But there was other vehicles that were of interest during that time, meaning right when the crime happened, there was other vehicles. There's other eyewitness statements about people. So if they would have known that truck existed and that this guy Henry Tenen existed back in February of 2022, why did you wait all the way until July to talk to this man? Because I think they were looking for that truck. They needed that truck. Karen, what's up, girl? Gifted 20 memberships, Karen. Karen, did you just turn the whole chat green? Karen turned the whole chat green. So what the police are saying happened here is how they got to Henry Tenen is they're doing their investigation, and then they act like they don't even know Henry Tenen exists until they go to that house, which is one of Mario Saldana's rentals on Potomac, and happen to just go there on the same day that earlier in the week, just a couple days prior, there was just a tire laying in the middle of the lawn in the middle of July. And that the one guy, Jeremy, who lived there, picked up the tire, put it on the side of the house. Because he's like, I was tired of looking at this damn tire, had no idea where it came from. So I picked it up and put it on the side of the house. And then the cops show up, aka Detective Johns shows up, and interviews Jeremy. Then Henry Tennant is arriving with his dog. And then they talk to Henry Tennant, but from my understanding, it wasn't on body cam. Is at least the part that's talking about this damn tire, that the cops say, oh, well, whose tire is that? Where'd that tire come from? And Jeremy's like, I have no idea. It was just laying on the front lawn and I was tired of looking at it and it just collecting water. So I picked it up and put it on the side of the house. I have no idea. And he's like, oh, well, then the police were like, oh, well, do you care if we take that off your hands? No, go ahead. You can have it. But that talk about the tire, from my understanding, reading the police reports, is not on body cam. Okay. And so you're going to tell me that Mario Saldana is going over there monthly to collect rent from this house from these people. And Mario Saldana is part of this murder hire plot, right? And he is just going there and seeing that there's it's the matching tire to the tire that they used to lure Jared Bridegan out of the car. And you don't think that you're going to be like, wait, grabbing that tire and getting it the fuck up out of there. First of all, where did it come from? How did it even end up there? I have a pretty good idea how it ended up there. A random tire just shows up. How long after the murder? Exactly. Where did this tire come from? Because the truck that was used, that's Henry Tennant's truck, he, after the murder, whether it was a week later, whether it was a month later, my guess would be when they put out to the world, when they said, hey, we're looking for this, blue truck or whatever, that would have tipped off Mario Saldana to be like, you need to get rid of this truck. Or not get rid of the truck. And so they put it at a friend's house or something like that. And it's off wherever. And so it's like, okay, who would say to themselves, let me just take this tire with me though? Oh man, you know what? I want to keep that spare tire. It's a good tire. Let me keep that spare tire. So I take the truck, leave the truck. But before I leave, I'm like, oh, let me grab that spare tire, throw it in a vehicle to then get to the house and be like, all right, now I'm going to take this tire out of the vehicle that I have it in and lay it on the front lawn. Have you people lost your minds? You think I'm going to believe that shit? No, I'm not. Because that's not believable. If you took the tire because you wanted it as a spare, all right, you don't take then a spare tire out of a vehicle's trunk and put it on a lawn. You would have kept the tire in your vehicle, but it's a tire truck. It's not a tire for a car, all right? And you would have known that you just committed a murder with a tire that's going to be the same. You want to have possession of something like that, but yet you take the whole truck. That tire is useless for you. But now, you know what makes way more sense to me? Well, cops that I have talked to said, listen, when people get framed by dirty cops, it's usually people that are guilty and they beef up the evidence. Okay. That's what cops have said to me in the past. That's what, during their experience, okay, that's not like people that I've talked to, that's what they do. No, their experience is when you want to talk about evidence and you want to talk about staging or you want to talk about planting, They're the word planting and placing, and it's normally when they're trying to beef up a case. So I thought it was very, very interesting that they're going to have to. What was the tire to Jared? There was a tire in the middle of the road. So Jared drops off the kids, gets back in his vehicle. So Jared's dropping off the kids at Shanna Gardner's house, and then gets in his vehicle. And as he's leaving out of the development, there then comes a tire in the middle of the road that he has to get out of his vehicle to move. And when he goes to get out of his vehicle, he is ambushed and shot and killed. And now that tire was left then obviously in the middle of the road, because those idiots, whoever did the killing, left the tire there, right? And therefore went into evidence. So then March, April, May, June, July, 5 months would have passed where Detective Johns then shows up on this guy Henry Tennant's house, and him and his partner notice a big truck tire that was on the side of the house. And they asked the homeowner, or the guy that was renting, Jeremy. So Jeremy and Henry Tennant rent from Mario Saldana. Detective Johns and Lamont say, hey, where's this tire from? And Jeremy's like, what? I don't know. It just showed up. It was on the front lawn. And I was tired of looking at it and filling up with water when it was raining. So I picked it up and I put it on the side of the house. He's like, oh, so you're just trying to get rid of this tire? And he's like, you don't need it? You don't want it? No. Oh, can we have it? And then the police take the tire. And because this Jeremy guy's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. He's like, you want us to discard of it? And the Jeremy guy's like, yeah, you can get rid of it. And I said to myself, whoo, boy, is that very, very interesting of a story of how the matching tire to what would be in evidence. So then they take this tire, they ask the evidence tech to, hey, go pull the tire that we have in the evidence locker, and I want to see if this matches. And lo and behold, boom, it matches. And it's because Henry Tennant went to Georgia in December of 2021, picks up his dad's truck because his dad dies, puts this truck in his name, comes back to Florida, has to get new tires put on this truck. So goes to Discount Tires. So there's like a paper trail of like getting these tires, and buys new tires, but keeps one of the old ones. Or I'm sorry, he just buys two tires. And he keeps one of the old ones as a spare. And then he gets new tires again. So like they were rotating his tires out. So they were able to match this tire with the one that was on at the scene. And I'm just like, whoa. I was like, I don't believe any of that. What I do believe is that they found that truck and they needed to get that truck, and they couldn't tip anybody off that they were looking for that truck. That's why they stayed away from doing anything. And so they found where the truck was. They were able to get the spare because it was actually on that truck. And then I believe that they put the tire out on that front lawn. Okay, they were watching that property because there is no way in hell that Mario Saldana is going there weekly, monthly to pick up checks for the house and not seeing this tire and not saying like, holy shit, give me that tire and I need a discard of it because like, where did this come from? And why would Henry Tenen have this? Like, you got rid of the truck. You don't then say, oh, you know what? I'm going to need that spare tire. Let me grab that spare tire. You're never going to use that spare tire because it doesn't go with you. You have a car. You can't even put that on. And then even if you did take the tire, I take the tire and I put it in my vehicle. It's in the trunk. Why would I ever take it out of my vehicle? Right? You wouldn't. Nobody would. Nobody would take a tire out of their vehicle after they say, oh, you know what? It's a perfectly good tire. I'm keeping that tire. And then when they got home, decide, you know what? Now I'm going to take the tire out and put it on my front lawn. What the fuck? Like, what? Nobody would ever do that. We're talking about lazy people. These are lazy people. Why would a lazy person trouble themselves to, okay, I'm going to take, and I'll lay it out on the front lawn thinking, what? The garbage truck, the garbage man's going to come take it? And the cops just happen to be there to see that we have to get this. Or then Jeremy Ordwell says, well, I was tired of looking at it. So then I picked it up and put it on the side of the house. And if the cops just happen to come a day or two after that happens, you guys, you want me to believe all that? And the answer is no, I'm not going to believe it. And it's not believable. Because the tire is the only link that, you know, besides the fact that they have this truck on surveillance camera, but it's actually a little bit of ways, but not like too far from the crime scene, but it's just like any other vehicle that would have been on like the main strip. So yeah. Okay, so it's their narrative. It's not me. I understand. It just not makes sense. No, it's the narrative is this is fact, you guys. There was a tire put in the middle of the road to make Jared stop his vehicle so that they could shoot him. Okay. So when the cops got there to process the scene, there was a tire in the middle of the road. They process the scene, they take that tire and they put it in evidence. Then they're going about their investigation. Okay. And they decide that they're going to interview, the cops decide they're going to interview. Well, let me back up. 2 weeks after the murder, maybe a month, they release information that says we are looking. Here's a blue truck, and so obviously Mario Saldana would have seen that, and they're like, holy shit, like that's Henry Tenen's truck. So then I personally believe that then that's when Mario Saldana said, hey, you cannot be driving that truck. You need to, if they already didn't do it beforehand, you need to go put it somewhere. You know, it's the truck is out, be on the lookout, and it's just went across all the news stations. So they go ahead and they place this truck at an old friend's warehouse back in like a junkyard. Okay. Well, it was outside. The truck was outside. And you're going to sit here and tell me that they go ahead and they know to get rid of the truck, put it somewhere else, but then they decide to take the spare tire off of the truck and say, oh, let's take this with us. What the knowing that you put unless you were going to destroy that immediately and like put it in a landfill or do something, like that tire is literally the link to be able to decipher, like, hey, this toy came from your vehicle because there's a match to it. It's too good to be true. Common theme. Like, so yeah, it's so that's my issue. My issue is that all these months would have gone by, and when the cops Detective Johns, who we just saw lie his ass off, he happens to go to Henry Tenen and Jeremy's house that they rent from Mario Saldana, and they just happen to be there, and then off record say, "Oh, that tire, where'd that tire come from? You guys getting rid of that tire? We'll take it off your hands." And so he's like, "Yeah, I was just staring at it. The tire it just showed up one day on our lawn. And I was tired of looking at it filling up with water when it would rain. So I put it up against the side of the house. You can have a tire." That's what the Jeremy guy says. He's like, "You can take the tire. Go ahead." And so Detective Johns and Detective Lamont take the tire from Jeremy and Henry Tenen's house, the rental property that belongs to Mario Saldana. And they go back to the police station and they say, "Here, compare this tire to the tire that we took in evidence at the crime scene." And they are a match. And I said, "Get the fuck up out of here." Absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What I believe happened, okay, is this. They needed to find that truck. They needed to get search warrants. Okay. They got call history. If you go and you look at the order of what they're doing to get these search warrants, they're looking for this vehicle. They wait to go talk to Jeremy and Henry Tenen, because they're looking for this truck that they would have known immediately once they would have ran the names of who Mario Saldana's associates are. Okay. Which would be tenants of his. They would have ran those names. They would have seen what vehicles belong to them because they were looking for this blue truck. Then they would have seen, "Oh, this Henry Tenen guy, he's got a 2004 two-tone blue tan truck. This is what we're looking for." You think the police are going to say, "Let's go talk to him"? No. The police are going to start staking him out and seeing what the fuck's up. So when they go to stake him out, they say, "He doesn't have this blue truck anymore. We need to find this blue truck." And there's chances that like maybe it's somewhere and we need to find it, because once we go to them, they're going to know that we're on them and then they can destroy this truck. So my personal opinion is that they knew Henry Tenen's name, just like they knew Jeremy's, just like they knew anybody else who was associated with this guy. They found the truck. They found this truck. They acted, though, in police reports that they didn't find it. They were searching for it and couldn't find it. Okay. And I said, who would ever write up a police report and say all these locations that you guys went looking for this truck and that you couldn't find it? Okay. And then you write up a police report saying how then you did find it. Like, and I'm just like, and they were all dates that were associated with after being at Henry Tenen's in July. And I said, bullshit. I said, no fucking way do you want me to believe that? Because I know how I would do it. I'm going to run these people's names. I'm going to look and see what cars are associated with them. I find a blue truck. I go and I start staking out this guy. He's not driving this blue truck anymore. Okay. Or I catch him driving this blue truck and then I see that he puts it somewhere else. All right. So we're still like, we have to like, okay, so he's got this blue truck. All right. We're trying to still make things work because we need to get search warrants, blah, blah, blah. Then we decide, well, fuck, we'll just take a tire and put it on the lawn and then see what they do with this tire. And the question is Jeremy is going to be huge to know, hey, Jeremy, how long was that tire on your front lawn? Because I can tell you right now, it couldn't have been there long because Mario Saldana comes and goes there. And there's just no way that Mario Saldana would have saw that tire truck and said he would have grabbed it. He would have grabbed it. But also, who's to say that Henry Tenen's really the shooter versus that Mario Saldana isn't the shooter? That hey, Henry Tennant, we know that you were involved in this, but if you say that you're the shooter, then you can go ahead and be our witness, and that's what can rope everybody together. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that that tire was there and that they just thought to themselves, we're going to take the tire off of a truck that we're trying to hide. For what purpose? And then when we take it, then we're going to take it out of our car, and then we're going to put the tire on the lawn and saying, hey, when the police come to finally talk to us, they're just going to find this tire and be able to link us all to the murder. That's got to be the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. You want me to believe that shit? And after seeing Detective Johns on the stand, I don't believe it. He's a fucking liar. And it's like, listen, you didn't have to do all that. You didn't have to do all that. Also, I know what it's like for, like, there's people that confess to crimes that didn't commit them, you know. Henry Tennant didn't say that he killed Jared. That's not, like, he said other things first, a bunch of other things. And then after 6 months being in jail, then he talked to them, and all of a sudden he then says he's the killer and he was hired by Mario Saldana. So yeah. Who's to say Mario is the guilty party? I think that Jose Baez is going to have a field day with this. And then this could be another one of those situations that if people think that, you know, because you guys didn't, they never thought that, they thought that everybody would be taking plea deals. Okay. Detective Johns says that to these witnesses. Oh, well, Shanna Gardner went out and got, you know, Jose Baez, and, you know, now he's going to try to do some, you know, funky stuff. It's like, listen, I don't believe that. Shanna Gardner, in my opinion, did not set this up. This was a move, if this happened this way, by Mario Saldana, because Shanna Gardner they were getting divorced. He wasn't going to have that like trust fund lifestyle anymore. Okay. But if Mario kills Jared, Mario's thinking that he's forever connected to her because he can make it, hey, I can ruin you. I can ruin you. Henry Tennant's, no, if I'm going to do a hit, do you think I'm going to go kill somebody and not get any money up front? That's what the state's saying happened. Sorry, but that's just wild. That's absolute fucking craziness. I personally believe that Mario used Henry Tennant's truck with possibly John Biggerstaff. Okay, because one of the eyewitnesses said they saw a guy that looked like Jesus around there. Well, Mario Saldana looks like Jesus. Okay. But Henry Tennant, if he only gets 15 years, he would have got 15 years. Like they need him to say that this all happened a certain way. But yet there's no money that ever exchanged hands. Shanna Gardner never even met this man, never talked to this man. Doesn't even know who Henry Tennant is. And it was done so, like, in my opinion, like, it was done in a desperate move. Jared Bridegan is taking the children home after a Wednesday, like they're in a divorce situation. So one parent has them 1 week and the other parent has them the other week. But during the opposite week, the other parent gets to be with the child or the children, the twins, and take them to dinner on Wednesdays. Okay. So you're going to sit here and tell me that crimes, when they happen, it's opportunity, motive, means. Who's going to know where Jared is on a Wednesday right after there would be the dinner date time? Gardners, Shanna Gardner, that's who would know that. Okay. And so, you're going to literally kill this man 2 to 4 minutes after he leaves your house, because that's providing the police with the information to say, well, you would have known where he was. You would have known when he got to your house, dropped off the kids. Okay. Also, Shanna Gardner knew that there was the little other girl in the car, their sister. Okay. So Jared drops off the kids. And then on his way out of the development, they find this area to throw this tire in the middle of the road. It's already a narrow road. And here, I'm just shocked that Jared, I wouldn't have ever gotten out. Like, he's in an SUV, like, just go around it. I'm just shocked that he ever got out of the car. And then I was looking at where these bullets were found in the car, and I think there was 2 shooters based on where these bullets were, based on where these shell casings landed. I'm telling you that what the state is alleging happened did not happen. There was a white car, a sedan. There was, and guess what Mauro Saldana drives? A white Tesla sedan. Like, there was another, like, a couple different trucks. And the eyewitness is adamant that it was black, not blue, and that it was new. They had different people giving them leads. There was a van, and it's like they're going to have to explain why they ruled out these other vehicles, because in the police reports they don't do a good job about that at all. It's just like it looks like it never gotten followed up with. I broke it down. You can go find that on the Shanna Gardner stuff that I've done when I broke down all the different police reports. But yeah, what they're saying is, why did he get out of the car? That's interesting. He's driving an SUV with a bunch of kids in it. No, he wasn't driving with a bunch of kids. Mary is after he dropped off the kids. He only had 1 kid in it. It's a very nice neighborhood. Sanctuary Boulevard, right before you would get to the main road. The way this was done, it was like, this was not thought out at all. It was rushed. It was like a desperate and like senseless. It was, and then you think that, I mean, Shanna Gardner and them, they have so much money. They have so much money. You think that they're going to have a paper trail of checks that go to this degenerate Henry Tenen? Unreal. Dropped off the first kid. They dropped off the twins. So they dropped off 2 kids. It just doesn't make sense. It's just not believable. It's not believable how this tire just, but the tire is the huge link. And Henry Tenen says that somebody borrowed his truck, this guy named Danny. And I found out who Danny is. John Biggerstaff, he's like, this case is just wild. But the state thinks that it's only going to take a week to try this case. I'm like, No way. And then since you're saying that, that means you're going to call, like, they need, they were tracing these phones. They were pinging phones. So they need a phone expert to show all of this because they don't have an eyewitness. They have a bunch of different vehicles in the area. They have eyewitnesses that are actually giving different descriptions of different people. Why are you going with this one versus that one type thing? So the state putting on their case, and they're like, well, we have the guy that already confessed to doing the killing. Yeah, but you gave him 15 years. You gave him a deal. And so it's like, I want to hear all that. Like, here, we know that you're involved. If you take this deal, we're going to give you second degree murder, and you're looking at 15. You're going to get that regardless. But if you get Henry Tenen to say, okay, yeah, I'm the shooter, I can pin it on, that's how I can rope in Mario Saldana and Shanna Gardner. And we're going the death penalty on them. They put DNA in that. There's no DNA that comes back to, as far as I know right now. There's no DNA on the rim that was in there was DNA on it, but it does not match anybody. Where the bullets landed in this SUV is very, very interesting. I was trying to get Scott Roeder to take a look at it. He thinks I'm wild. I told him, I was like, hey, it's a Florida case though. So I think he stopped because he was a kind guy and he was helping out the nice neighborhood. I think the tire was to slow him down. Me personally, I don't think that they could have ever said like, okay, here, we're going to put this in because he's going to then get out of the car. I think it was meant to slow him down because I think they used a different vehicle. Like, I believe a different vehicle was there. And that the tire in the middle of the road was somebody acting like they were changing a tire. This whole like putting a tire in the middle of the road to get Jared to stop, to get out of the vehicle, to I don't think that that's accurate. I think that somebody had a vehicle there, faked like they were like that their tire was messed up, it blew out or whatever, because that would be the only way that you're going to ensure that A, he's stopping, right? And B, that you're then right there in that he's right there. The person that's faking like their car has issues can then approach him from the passenger or from the driver's side. And then I believe somebody approached him from the passenger side as well, based on where these bullets were in the vehicle. One of them was lodged in the middle console, like they had to take apart. Then for the glass to be shot out from the passenger side window to be like spidered out. I don't believe that shot would have ever happened if Jared was actually out of his vehicle versus this person came like kind of like up to him. They had and the shell casings, there was 4 total, and 2 of them were of one brand and 2 of them were the other brand, of which none of those brands, it was a 10, they believe that it was a 10 millimeter that shot Jared. And the only way that gun would have 2 different, usually if you're filling up you'd have to be at the bottom of one container of bullets to then go grab, okay, I'm gonna grab this box and put these ones in there. they have camera footage of, there is camera footage, but not as much as we think. They have rings so you can hear stuff. It was in an area that it's right at that path where all the houses stop right before you're getting out of like a development, you know? So like they have like that little, I don't know, 100 feet worth of no houses like to get out and into a development. What else? Yeah, I think I showed that on another live, but I just can't believe that they're trying to say that that this is only going to be a 1 week trial. Get out of here. No way. And that's the state saying. Jose Baez, when he hears this, is going to be like, what? That would tell me that they're barely calling any witnesses. Oh, Lana, what is the state saying the motive is? Oh, that she wanted the kids all to herself. That she didn't want to have to, you know, they've been divorced since 2015, and that she didn't want to have to like share the kids anymore. And a lot of time had passed, in my opinion, and I think that this was Mario Saldana's doing, without a doubt. If this, you know. And then they're going to say, well, Mario Saldana doesn't have a motive without Shanna Gardner. And I'm like, that's where you're wrong. That's not where you're wrong. Mario Saldana has way more of a motive because Shanna Gardner was divorcing him. Shanna Gardner and Mario Saldana did not, like, Mario Saldana is a swinger, and she basically had to marry him so that he could like help out with the kids because Jared wouldn't let Mario help out unless, okay, well, if you're married, then I have no choice type of thing. So they got married, you know, it was basically like they were friends who then, okay, maybe try to get it to work, but it just didn't work like that. And then Mario is just a freaking lunatic and, you know, would butt heads with like Jared on how to parent the children. And it was just like, wait, why is he even saying anything about, like, I'd be like, you need to sit fuck down. But like, I think Mario Saldana has the motive because his little, you know, cush lifestyle, it was over. But it's like an extortion route for Mario Saldana. Or about where they went to school. That was already settled. Jared was like, okay, if I don't pay child support, then you can pick the school that the kids go to. And actually, I'm sorry, it was Gardner's idea. Like, here, you don't have to pay me any money. Okay. The kids go to this school. And he's like, okay, fine. I read through the 900 pages of their divorce. People think that this was like a crazy divorce. No, it wasn't. I disagree 100%. The 900 pages, and maybe one day I'll sit here and I'll go through them with you guys, but fuck no. Jared left. Jared went to Utah, and Shanna Gardner never even took him back to court to say, okay, well, I want to change this parenting stuff around because she just actually had the kids, and Jared would come every other weekend or once like a month to see the kids. Then when she had said, okay, well, I thought this was just temporary, so I'm going to go ahead and change. And he was like, okay, then I'm moving back. Because he didn't want to pay. Yeah, no. Jared had gotten married quickly. He actually had a fiance before the one that he married, the new Kirsten. Whom my heart breaks for her. Like, ugh. Horrible. These poor kids, all of them. The little girl that was in the car, she was 2 at the time, but Yeah, that's just. Mm-mm. God, what the heck? Phone. Oh, what I got about Jen Drake? Yes, Jared, new life, wife and kids. Yep. And they're trying to use text messages from 2015, 2016. Like and to say that say that like 50 and 60 and 70-year-old women were conspiring with Gardner, and they were trying to get these people like, hey, we're going to charge you with conspiracy. Like, what are you talking about, man? We're over here having a women's like, everyone's just like, you're venting, you're saying stuff like they're going through a divorce, and they're talking about Chris Angel, and do you know somebody that can make him disappear? I'll give him funeral potatoes. Like, what? I just, and then the state's argument is, well, yeah, but guess what? This guy ended up getting murdered. I'm just like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was just trying to watch her hearing to get a court date. So it's my personal opinion that they the police planted this tire. And I wrote Jose Baez to tell him about it and to tell him what reports to go and look at. And the Detective Johns' phone should be his cell phone should be coughed on over, and do location traces on his cell phone where he would have been. So and then you guys can sit here and say, well, why would Henry Tenen testify, or why would Henry Tenen ever say that he did it if he didn't do it? And then I'm going to tell you guys to go learn about false confessions, because I don't think Henry Tenen is the shooter. I could be wrong, though. But if the state gets Henry Tenen to say that he was the shooter, and to just say, like, here, who told you to do this? And then Mario's probably over here saying, that motherfucker wasn't the shooter, but I can't say that because then I'm going to fucking, be implicating myself. So Mario Sodano's like, that motherfucker wasn't the shooter. How'd they get this motherfucker to say he was the shooter? I used his fucking car. Yeah. I used his truck. We used his truck. We used his truck. But, and that's the other thing, is he had just gotten this truck from his dead dad. And then to sit here and say, Mario says, yeah, can I use your truck for this? He didn't know what it was going to be used for. And then was pissed about it. Like, that was sentimental to fucking this Henry Tenen guy. The truck was sentimental to him. It was his dad left it for him. His dad died. So he drives all the way to Georgia with this other guy to pick up the truck, bring it back, changes all the stuff in his name. Then literally a month or two later, it is used in a murder. And let me tell you something. If you were planning on using that from the jump in a murder, you wouldn't go and put all the shit in your name. You would have waited to do all, like, you would have never done it. You would have never transferred all that shit in your name. Then they can see, okay, here's Mario Saldana's neighbor or tenant. Let's look up and see what cars are, registered to him. Oh, the blue truck that we're looking for. I mean, and then you can just say to yourself, well, these people are just stupid. I'm like, no, this is way more than stupid. This is just, This is knowing like, hey, we know who did this, but we can't prove it. So let's help prove it. Like that's what this looks like to me. I just don't understand why Shanna Gardner would stay in same trial. They're trying to separate the two. But they also have the privilege of not testifying against the other. Okay. I also know that the dude knew that he didn't know what was going to happen because he's using cell phone. Like it's just that Henry Tennant guy is no killer. He's a go look at his rap sheet. This isn't a guy that you. And then Henry's like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this, and you're gonna pay me. You're gonna give me $150,000 after it's done. Get out of here! Oh yeah, because we can't give it to you beforehand because there'll be a paper trail. Oh, but we're gonna pay it in checks. Get out! And we're just gonna pay you in check and act like we're like paying you for your pallet business. Like that's the state's case. I'm like, get out of here. I'm like, I personally believe that Mario Saldana, the $5,000 was for the truck. You know, he's like, man, fuck you. You made me like, you used my truck and now I can't use it because whatever the fuck you did with it and whatever it was involved in. Who pays for people? Why? And then if anything, the guy pays you cash for rent, you would just like not have him pay you cash for rent. Like, it's just. They have to pull over Henry Tennant on a traffic stop to like even get this ball rolling, and then put him in a room and then say, okay, well, you know that we really didn't bring you in here because of a traffic stop, right? I mean, we did, but that's not why we're talking to you. We want to talk to you about Mario Saldana and the murder of Jared Bridegan and your truck. And then you don't think that if there was this conspiring going on, that the moment that you wouldn't, if you're Mario Saldana, you don't lawyer up your fucking dude. Like, but you would have no reason to lawyer up anybody because I don't believe that Henry Tennant had anything, like his truck was involved because Mario Saldana borrowed it, in my opinion. But he borrowed it through a guy named Danny. And I found out who the Danny guy is. I want to know if Henry Tennant's going to take back his statements that he did the shooting, because I will read to you what he said happened that night. Where is this crap? Boop, boop. Only life. No, there's no life insurance involved. Okay, July. Oh, here it is. August. Henry Tennant's interview, suspect. At approximately 7 in the morning, the interview with Tennant was conducted. The interview was audio and visually recorded. Also present during the interview was Detective William Paul Cullen. Detective Cullen went over Miranda with Tennant, who signed the form and agreed to speak with us. During the first part of the interview, Tennant was asked about his driving habits and what car he was driving when he was stopped earlier. Tennant said that the Crown Vic he was driving today belongs to his roommate, Jeremy. He started using the car around February or March of this year. He said he most likely keeps the car at the Potomac Avenue address, but sometimes he goes to 8701 Old Kings Road. Okay, the reason I highlighted that, okay, is because that address ends up being really, really important. But it's also important to know that I'll get to it. Tennant stated he took the Crown Vic to Drayton, Georgia to visit his brother in April. He said he was asked if he used any other vehicles. He stated he was also driving a truck. So listen, you commit a murder, a hit, and you're driving your truck. He says he was also stated he was also driving a truck for about 8 months until it started having trouble. He was asked who owned the truck. He stated it was his father's. He stated his father passed away and left him the truck. He stated he thinks he got the truck around the first of the year. He said it was a 2004 F-150. Okay. Now he's saying all of this stuff. Think about this. But meanwhile, on every news channel in Jacksonville, they're looking for a 2004 blue Ford truck. He drove it until the truck stopped running. He stated he could not afford to get it fixed, so he sold it for parts. He stated the truck broke down in February. That was the murder month. Tennant was shown an LPR, which is a license plate reader, hit from April that shows that the truck was at 103rd and Ricker. He stated he kept the truck for about a month after he put the tires on the truck. April 2nd. Okay. Tennant was asked if he ever had to have the truck towed anywhere. He stated he had it towed home in April when the oil pump went out. He stated he then sold the truck for parts in a cash deal. He did not know the person's name who purchased the truck. He was asked if he ever let anyone else drive his truck or car. He said the only one that he ever let drive his car was Jimmy, but he was always with him. He was asked if he ever let anyone use the truck without him being in the truck. He stated Jerry, who was Jeremy Orwell, would be the only person he would ever let use the truck. He stated Jerry used the truck twice while he was at work, both times during the middle of the day. Tennant was shown a picture of the truck and asked where he was going on February 16th around 6:30 in the evening. He stated if he was out at the beach, he was at a restaurant called Burnt Ends. He was asked where it was. He stated it was on the right off the beach boulevard, approximately 4 blocks past Taco Lou. It should be noted the only barbecue restaurant in that location is Mojo's Barbecue, located at 1500 Beach Boulevard. Tennant was advised the night he was at the beach, there was someone murdered. He was asked who had his truck during the murder. He initially stated he did not know. He then asked what night it was again. He was asked if he was in the truck. He stated he was not in the truck. He was asked who had his truck. He stated he did not know. He was asked if Mario had his truck. He stated no. He was asked again what happened to his truck that night. He did not answer. He was then asked why his phone was off that night. He stated it must have went dead. He was asked to tell us what happened that night. And he said he really doesn't know. Henry was shown a picture of John Biggerstaff, the swinger. He stated he used to drive a white Chevy Sierra. There was a white truck that was seen by somebody. For the record, there was a in one of the police reports. He was shown a picture of Mario Fernandez Saldana, and he said that was his ex-landlord. Tenant stated he does not know anything that can help us put him away, motioning to a picture of Saldana. Tenant was told there was various items against him, and his cell phone was pinging in Jacksonville Beach. Well, I thought you just said my phone was off. Now it's pinging? You see what I'm saying? Like, what? After several denials, so deny, and stated he did not know any information, he stated he did not know what happened involving his truck until detectives told him. He said he drove to the truck to the restaurant. He stated he drove to the barbecue restaurant in Jacksonville Beach sometime after 5 p.m. He stated a key stays in the ignition and a key stays with him. He was asked if he saw a picture of the person who took his truck. Would he know them? He stated he would. He was asked where he was at when the truck was taken. He stated he was standing in the doorway of the restaurant. Tenant stated the truck was parked in the parking lot of the restaurant near the main road, Beach Boulevard. He asked how long he was in the restaurant for. He said he was not sure, but it was a pretty long time. He stated he had to walk to the plaza, the opposite side of Taco Lou, to get his truck. He stated a green SUV pulled up and told him he could find his truck in the plaza next to Taco Lou. He stated he walked down Beach Boulevard and made a left at a little store and got a bottle of water and a soda. He stated his truck was parked near the plaza on the other side of the restaurant. He stated this was about 9:30, 10 o'clock. He was asked if the same person who asked to borrow the truck is the same person that took it from the parking lot. He stated it was not. He said the person who asked to borrow the truck was Danny. And I was like, who is this Danny guy? He said he and Danny used to work or do work for that fool, pointing to a picture of Saldana. Detective Cullen touched the picture of Saldana saying, this guy? Tenant says, yeah. So Tenant says, that fool Saldana, Danny and I used to do work for that fool. He's like, pissed at him. He says, he said he has known Danny for about 8 months prior to borrowing the truck. He said Danny asked him to borrow the truck in January, but there were issues with his truck. He stated Danny purchased a new battery and an alternator for the truck, which Tenant felt then locked in to help him. Tenant stated he was told to meet at the restaurant and they would leave from there. He stated Danny knew there was a key in the ignition since they had used it to do landscaping jobs together. Tenant was asked if he used his secondary cell phone to call his cell phone that was left in the truck. He stated he used his phone to call the phone in the truck because he could not find a truck, which makes sense to me. People do that all the time. Like that he could not find the truck or he could not find it in the truck. He stated he was upset with Danny because he did not bring his truck back in the time frame he was told it would be back. He stated he did not see the person yelling from the green truck was Danny because they knew him. But he did not actually see the person. He was asked if he recognized his because they knew him. What? Oh, here. He was asked if he recognized his tire was no longer in the back. And it's like, how did you know he kept it in the back? Some people keep their spares. And he said, yep. He was asked if he talked to Danny after that night. He said no, because Danny did not bring his truck back and he does not have his phone number. He was asked if Danny was white or black. He was shown a picture of John Biggerstaff and asked if that was who came and got his truck. He said he did not think it as him. Tennant stated there isn't a whole lot he can tell us other than it was his truck and he was not driving the truck. He was asked if he was in the truck. He said no. He stated, all I know is Danny had my truck to move some tile or parchments or something, and that is it. Exactly. He then stated Danny left his black Mazda. So they're like giving me like total hints on who this person is based on these car descriptions. Danny. He then said that he left his black Mazda at Potomac and took the truck from there, which doesn't make sense because I thought he took it from the restaurant. He stated, to the best of my knowledge, Danny had my truck. Henry stated, we, the police, have pictures of his truck and he want not in it. Who is writing this shit? He stated anything he say, he's going to be messed up because he can't say Fernandez Saldana took his truck. He said it was one of his rims and tires left at the crime scene, which was fucked up, in quotes. He then stated, so he knows this. So think about that. You're just going to leave this tire out on your fucking front lawn? The tires left at the crime scene, which was fucked up. He then stated Danny used his truck to repo someone's car. And Tennant did not want to participate, so he agreed to let him stay at the restaurant because he did not want to be involved. He said someone pulled up in two-door black Mazda. Tennant then stated, there is nothing else I can tell you. Detective Cullen asked Tennant what his concern was with telling us the truth. He stated his main concern is always about his kids and grandkids. He was asked if this has something to do with their safety. Tennant said pretty much, and well-being. Tennant said, there ain't anything else I can give you, and I think I need an attorney. So then this went from so as you can see, so this is what he said in his interview. Do you see how he didn't say, I was the shooter, I was the guy that shot Jared? It ended there. Then I found who Daniel was. So maybe Daily Mail can take a little piece of this right here. Wednesday, so that was on August 18th. August 24th, at approximately 12:30, Alfredo Fontanez met with Sergeant Ko and I at the police station for an interview. This guy, Mr. Viglia, primarily speaks Spanish and his English is limited, so I translated. The interview was audio-video recorded and was copied to disk and placed into property as evidence. This guy, Alfredo, is a mobile mechanic. And his business card was in Henry Tennant's possession. He has not worked on any Ford 150 Blue trucks and has only worked on a white 2001 F-150 truck in the last 6 months. He has only worked on a green or blue Ford Crown Victoria. He was shown multiple photographs of Henry Tennant, John Biggerstaff, Mario Saldana, and Daniel Holmes. That's how I found out who fucking Daniel was. He did not recognize anyone from the photographs. He was unable to provide any information in regards to this case. There is no further information to add to this report. And so, would you believe it? That in all of these police reports that I went through, not a single one of them has anything to do with Daniel Holmes. Who's Daniel Holmes? That's Danny. Now, then at approximately September 6th, at approximately 1700 hours, Detective Burrell conducted a search for Henry Tennant's truck in the vicinity of the 5239 Potomac Avenue. So they're still trying to make it seem like they don't have this truck. All right, so they're looking for this truck. Several areas were identified by the location data provided by T-Mobile. So they're using, just like how Cyril says he does his shit, like they're using phones to see where these people were going in the months leading up to the murder and then after the murder, right? To see where this truck could be. Contact was made with Clarence Reuben Bederick at 3450 Old Kings Road. Remember I told you guys in the interview with, what's his name? Tennant, he mentions, or they mention it for him. He said he started using the car around February or March of this year. He said he mostly keeps the car at Potomac Avenue, but sometimes he goes to 8701 Old Kings Road. And it's like, wouldn't you ask somebody if you're doing an interview with them, what's at 8701 Old Kings Road? What is that? Well, Broderick had several vehicles in various states of disrepair on the property. Broderick confirmed he was a mechanic and runs his business through this location. And once again, they're trying to say that they got this off of several areas were identified by the location data provided by T-Mobile. It's like, well, I actually can go back and show that you guys were driving around. So when did they go and do this? They're lying right here. This is how they're saying they got to this. They say they went on that freaking. I'll find it. Anyways, they show up at this address and they ask this. Broderick was asked if he has worked on any blue F-150 recently. Broderick said he worked on a blue F-150 truck earlier this year. Broderick began to describe the owner of the vehicle in great detail. Broderick said the owner of the vehicle was a tall black male who always had a dog with him. Broderick said that the owner advised he recently got the truck from his father who passed away in Georgia. Broderick informed the owner the motor needed to be replaced, but the owner disagreed. The owner wanted to change the oil pump because he thought that this would fix the problem. These details were confirmed by Jeremy Ordwell and Jane Deal. Broderick advised the last time he saw the owner, he was driving a white Crown Vic. Broderick stated after the truck sat on his property for a while, the owner drove the truck to Twins Grocery. According to Broderick, the truck sat there for an unknown length of time and he does not know where it is at this time. And I said to myself, why did they go to this address, this 3450 Old Kings Road? The first time that they tried to get into Tennant's phone, the cellular phone was unable to be downloaded using conventional Cellbrite forensic downloads. When did they go driving? I swear this was, it's in the other reports. Oh, here we go. October 14th. At approximately 1600 hours, financial records were received for Henry A. Tennant. A review of the records found Tennant paid for auto transport on 6/8/2022. A review of the phone records found Tennant communicating with Rivers Auto Transport on 6/7/2022. Cellular location data was compared to the date and time the truck was transported. The cellular location data identified 1705 University Street in Jacksonville, Florida, as a possible location. ATF Special Agent Simmons drove to the address to inspect further. Upon arrival, Special Agent Simmons found Tennant's blue 2004 F-150. Now, guess what? That University Street, that was already linked to Tennant. Okay, so they're saying that they didn't find Tennant's truck until October 14, 2022, which would have been a couple months after Tennant's arrest. But good old Lana said, no. Listen to this. The vehicle was located in the back of the yard, which is not fenced in. Okay. So anybody could have got to that truck prior to. The truck and tag could clearly be seen from the street. They obtained a search warrant for it. So they're saying the first time that they got into that truck and saw it, Friday, October 14th. And then I said, so then they say that Mr. Jones stated he and Tennant have been friends between 10 and 15 years. He stated Tennant would regularly come to his residence with beer and they would hang out and drink. He denied knowing Fernandez or Ordway or Biggerstaff or whoever these people are. Jones stated a few months ago, Tennant asked him if he could store his truck, the blue 2004 F-150, for a couple of months until he could get enough money to get it fixed. See, everybody has the same story with this. Jones agreed, and Tennant picked him up in the white Crown Victoria. They drove to an unknown location where Tennant drove the truck, and Jones followed him in the Crown Vic. He said the truck broke down on his street, so they used the Crown Vic to push the truck into Jones's yard. Jones has stated he attempted to call Tennant several times to get him to remove the truck, but the calls kept going to voicemail. A further review of Tennant's PNC checking statements revealed he received 3 checks. So this is what Jose Baez needs to connect this supplemental report 126 to their little paper trail. A further review of Tennant's PNC checking statements revealed he received 3 checks from First Choice Home Rentals LLC, which is owned by Mario Saldana and Shanna Gardner. Check 27 for $2,000. Check 28 for $3,000 were dated on 3/28/2022, and check 29 for $5,000 was dated for 4/4/2022. The 3 checks were deposited into tenant's account. Records will be attached to this report. All of those dates are after the murder. Okay. Where did they go on this stupid frickin'? Oh, here we go. Wednesday, July 27th, 2022. The day after, so remember, they go over there to interview Jeremy, and then they see Henry Tennant pull up, and they're at the house, and they're like, they try to make it seem like the first time that they ran any reports on Henry Tennant to know what type of truck he drove was on July 26, 2022. Because it says right here at the end, when they interviewed Jeremy, they went and saw him on the 18th, and that's when they got the tire. So when they interviewed him on the 18th, they said, hey, can we take this tire? Right here. I'm sorry, it was the 19th. July 18th and 19th. It says, at the end of the interview, once the interview was with Tennant completed, Detective Burrell noticed what appeared to be, remember this, what appears to be a tan leather knife sheath. Once the interview with Tennant was completed, Detective Burrell noticed what appeared to be a BF Goodrich truck tire leaning against the garage. Detective Burrell spoke with Ordway about the tire and collected it. The interaction with Ordwell is documented in his supplement, but not on body cam, not on audio or like. And so I was like, okay, well, how did this all come about? Like, why the fuck? Like, what's up? And then I found it was right here. Tennant was advised that the interview was being audio recorded. It's got to be this way. Oh, here. All right. On July 26th, they go back over to the house and they say, hey, we have some follow-up questions for you, Jeremy. And they say, Orwell was asked how he knew Mario. He said he only knew him as the landlord. He said he lived next door with his father and would see Mario when he came to collect the rent or to complete repairs. He stated he did not have a friendship with Mario, and it was a typical tenant-landlord relationship. Mr. Orwell was then asked about his relationship with Henry Tennant. He stated that he and Tennant became friends when he originally lived in the house, and he stays there when he is not in Georgia. Orwell was asked about the tire that officers observed and subsequently removed with his permission. He stated he did not know anything about the tire. He stated it was initially in the ditch in front of the house. He initially stated it somehow ended up on the side of the house, and he was not sure how it got there. Then he stated the tire somehow ended up in the front yard, and he was tired of it, seeing it fill with water, so he set it up against the side of the house. He stated he was not concerned with the tire because he did not own a truck. And he stated Tennant has not had his truck in several months since the engine blew up. Orwell was asked what type of truck Tennant had. He said, it's like yours. And he's like, that was our unmarked F-150. And then here it says, a record search revealed a blue 2004 Ford F-150 crew cab that was registered to Henry Tennant. And then they did like the tag and all that crap. A query of LPRs in the area revealed several hits from this truck in the Jacksonville area. The truck from the LPR photos and the video contained during the day of the homicide appear to match. The Ford was entered into FCIC NCIS as a felony vehicle. The vehicle can be removed from FCIC NCIS as being flagged. So they're acting like they just found out about this truck. Okay. But you would have ran Tennant stuff prior to that, at the very least, a week prior to that, July, like when you first talked to them. But they're making it seem like a record search revealed and it happened on that day. Then it's the very next day that they decide to get in a vehicle. So on July 27th, then Detective Burrell and I conducted a search of the immediate area surrounding 5239 Potomac Avenue, and the following streets were checked for this blue F-150. And so what I did is I created to see how long it would take to go and visit all these streets. Because it said, here's Missouri Ave, Wabash Boulevard, Shannon Avenue, Amazon Avenue, Potomac. So they're making it seem like that they didn't even try to start looking for this tire, AKA, this truck until this next day, July 27th. And they make up this report about it. They said the truck was not seen in the above mentioned area. While searching the area, several automotive type businesses were located. The following businesses were checked for the truck: Soda Auto Sales, Mohawk, all the stuff. And again, I pumped in all of these addresses. And I said, oh, this is interesting. 5110 Old Kings Road. I said, that's interesting. I said, well, why wouldn't they pump in all of the known addresses to be known associated with Henry Tennant? The truck was not present at the above mentioned businesses. They said that at approximately, then the next day, they said, I searched the parking lot of the Arbor Place Apartments located at 5800 Barnes Road while reviewing the location data received from Mario Sedana's cellular site search warrant. His phone was in the area the day prior to the murder, and it was at some apartment complex. The truck was not found in the parking lot. While searching the parking lot, contact was made with Kevin Monroe, who is a member of the maintenance crew. Monroe was showed a picture of the truck, and he said, oh, that looks like a truck that's been here before, but doesn't belong to anybody. Then the next day, on Monday, August 1st, Commander Crumbly and I went to the following locations, which through investigative means revealed a possible past connection with Henry Tennant. Ready? The Potomac Avenue, they said they went there at 11:35 hours. Then they went to 3105 West 18th Street at 11:48 hours. So like 13 minutes later. Then they go to Odessa Drive, 11:58 hours. Then the Wabash Boulevard, 12:09. Then 8701 Old Kings, 12:40. 1716 Macduff Avenue at 1254. Then this other 10th Street at 1317. And I said, that's interesting. That they have lunch because it does not take. Oh, wait, was that the time frame? Oh. But his address, there was that university address was associated with him before. Like they would have known that. And I noticed that they didn't include that in their little drive-by. Because I ran Henry Tennant's back. I ran all of his stuff. In university, that address was associated with the place that he used to live. So it's like, you list all these addresses that you say that you went to. And one of them that you didn't go to was the University Street one. I said, interesting. Upon reviewing the data from the T-Mobile for Henry Tennant, the date range requested for the data was January 1st to July 27th of 2022, with the murder was that February 16th, 2022. Upon reviewing the data, it was discovered 2 phone calls of interest were made from Tennant's cellular phone the night of the murder, which was on 2/16. The phone calls were made at 21:18 hours to Jeremy Ordwell and 21:23 hours, and that was to an unknown number. Both calls were made utilizing T-Mobile cellular tower in Jacksonville Beach and were incoming calls. So remember how they asked Tennant, why were you calling? He wasn't making the calls. They were incoming calls. So that was 9/18. So then they're saying that they did on August 11th. They looked and saw that Tennant's blue truck was seen on the license plate reader on 4/2, and it was located at this 103rd Street and Ricker Road, which is the last known LPR location in which the truck was ever recorded. So April 2nd. And they realized that at approximately 13:06 hours, Tennant's truck was serviced at Discount Tire located at 7237 103rd Street. So Tennant purchased 2 new tires, and it appears they were placed on the front axle. According to the receipt, Tennant kept 1 tire and disposed of 1 tire through Discount Tire. That's how that's a match for the the first date of service, because Tennant went there twice, was April 2nd, and they got the reference number. It was for the Ford truck, and he purchased. Oh, the last total mileage is on, so it's 160. So they can check the odometer. The total was $319.28 paid with, according to Wright, a debit card, which according to the receipt, a card ending in this. It says, according to Wright, whomever brought in the truck kept the front driver's side tire. The second date, April 23rd, was for a 1993 Ford Crown Vic with listed mileage, blah, blah, blah. The total was 221, paid with, according to Wright, a debit card. I scanned a copy of the receipt Wright gave me. They said that they did a flyover. I emailed Customs and Border Protection requesting a flyover of 9324 JOOS Road in Jacksonville, which had been previously identified as a possible location associated with Henry Tenon. Nothing came of that. They said, I just don't believe the dates they said that they did this. On 8/18/2022, at approximately 8:45 hours, I responded to Potomac Avenue to retrieve, this was been the day that he was arrested, to retrieve vehicle keys from the residence. I spoke with resident Jeremy, who handed me a set of keys. Jeremy explained that each key went to, and it was, this one's for the small Ford key, this one's for this one, and then Jeremy said the other set of keys were Henry's Ford truck keys. I was instructed to take the keys and put them into property. They are looking for this truck, you guys. They're acting like they just start looking for this truck on 7/26, and that they're not able to find this truck. They want us to believe that they did not find this truck. They started on 7/26/2022, and they don't find it until 10. When was it? 10/6/2022. Now remind yourself this, that if he takes this truck to this guy that's his friend, and he's like, here, I want you to keep this truck here for, however long, right? He then just decides that he's going to take the spare truck, or the spare tire, because remember, Discount Tire said, oh, we took one and we left one. Like, we took one for him and he kept one as a spare, which people do. Okay. And so you're going to sit here and tell me that you want me to believe that this would have happened on April the 2nd, 2022, and that from April the 2nd, 2022 until July 18th, 2022, you want me to believe that a truck tire sat on the ditch of the Potomac address where Mario Saldana rents his home to the guy that he got to do the hit, and they just left that tire laying on the front lawn from April 2nd, 2022 until July 18th, 2022. Knowing that Mario had been at that house numerous times and just thought it was okay that the matching tire that they put in the middle of the road, or that they used as a roost, whatever you want to say, just sat out there. And Mario Saldana was coming and going from that house, getting rent, fixing up the place, doing whatever, and was like, it's okay that tire just sits there. Let's wait for the cops to come one day, and they're going to be like, oh, wow. That's who, first of all, who takes the tire? How does the tire ever, how is it not with the truck? You leave it, this truck, with this dude. This dude has this truck at his junkyard or whatever. So he's got the truck, he's got the spare that would have, been now in the back of the truck, right? And he would have said, oh, wait, hold on. Before we leave, hold on, I gotta get that truck. I gotta get that tire out of that truck. I gotta get that tire out of that truck and put it in my Crown Vic back, trunk. And then when I get home to Jeremy's, I'm gonna take it out and put it on the lawn. What the fuck? You would never. This is. You guys, this isn't stupidity. That would be like, why? Why would you? What are you doing? You kept the tire truck for a reason because hell yeah, let me keep one of those so I can have a spare. Allegedly, this is what they're alleging. Okay, so I can keep this tire truck as a spare, but then I'm going to take the truck to my friend's house. He's following me in a Victorious, the Vic car. The truck dies. We end up having to push it with the other car, the Crown Vic car. We finally get it up on that university, address in that spot in the back. And I say, oh, you know what? Let me grab that tire, put it in my Crown Victoria trunk. Then I'm going to drive on back to Jeremy's where I live or stay with him sometimes, whatever it may be. And then when I get there, I'm going to take the tire out of my Crown Victoria and put it on the lawn and let it be there from April 2nd till July 18th. When the police just decide to show up on the 18th here, when the tire is no longer on my front lawn, but Jeremy was so sick and tired of staring at that thing fill up with water that he was like, I think I picked it up and put it on the side of the house. And that's how it got there. But Mario Saldana, knowing that tire was involved, okay, knowing, because that all came out, knowing that the blue truck is involved, knowing that the police would know all this, you're going to go to that house and you're just going to see a tire at that address that you own that's the matching tire to the murder scene. Y'all think that that's how that happened? Because remember, Jeremy's over here saying he has no idea where that tire came from, and it's a truck tire. Like, what the fuck? Hey, Henry, what's this tire doing here? You need this tire? Where's your truck at? Oh, just leave it there. Wouldn't he be? He didn't even know the importance. Like, basically what I'm trying to get at is Henry Tennant didn't even know the importance of that tire truck. Okay. That's what it seems like. Because you would not just be leaving that tire truck. And how did it ever get out of that? So what I'm saying is all of this, not everyone is smart, obviously. No, guys, this isn't about like, oh, they're just dumb. You guys, this isn't being dumb. This is taking measures to basically like, I'm trying to get caught. Or the tire was planted. And then what tells me something interesting about it all is that immediately after they go to his house on July 18th to find this tire and they take it and it's a match, then they go back to ask Jeremy about the tire on the 26th, but they ask Jeremy, why would you ask Jeremy anything about the tire? Who cares where the tire came from? And once Jeremy says that it wasn't his tire and he has no idea it's a truck tire, you guys already know that Tennant's the one with the truck. Wouldn't you be asking him, Tennant, about that? Jeremy doesn't know it. But they don't. And instead, they want us to believe that that's when they got on the prowl to go find this truck that they couldn't find for July, half of July, August, September. So 3 months, almost 3 months. It took them that long. Meanwhile, they had all these phone records with all these locations and that university address linked back to Henry Tenen, like immediately, like when you were done and pulled his stuff up. They oversell how difficult it was to find this truck. That's what they do, in my opinion, with all of this shit. They oversell what they had to do in order to find this truck. And it's like, why? Well, because this tire just ends up on the lawn. And you want us to believe that the people that were involved in the murder put it there. Now, that has to be the stupidest thing that I've ever heard in my life. And based off of the dates of when that tire would have even been available to be in the hands of Henry Tenen, would have been April 2nd, which was the last day that truck was ever drove, period. Okay, anywhere. It was on the license plate readers. And you want me to believe that would mean that he went, put his truck there, decided, oh, I'm going to take this tire though with me. And then once I get back to my house, I'm going to just put it on the lawn. And it's going to be out there for all of April, May, June, and half of July. Just sitting at the end of the driveway, but it's in the lawn part where, like, it's like a ditch, like, like just like your dip down. You want me to believe that? I would say, first of all, why would Henry Tenen ever even take the tire to begin with? He doesn't need the tire. Okay. Henry Tenen's couch surfing. You think he wants to fucking take a tire with him? The fuck out of here. No way. What makes sense to me is that you found that truck a hell of a lot earlier and that you planted that tire. That's what makes sense to me. Now the question is how do you prove that? If you're Jose Baez, because if you can prove that, then it's curtains. Oh, I would love to know the rest, because he says, I think I need an attorney. So so check this out. So he doesn't admit, so Henry Tenen doesn't admit to the police that he's the killer, that he did the shooting or anything like that. He says, there's nothing I can help you with, like, in order for you to get this son of a bitch. You know what I mean? So after he gets an attorney, his attorney then says, all right, tell me everything that happened. And then his attorney says, okay, let's go see if we can cut you a deal with the prosecutors. Or do you think the prosecutors were like, hey, because remember, he doesn't say that he knows who shot anybody, knows anything about that. He doesn't admit to shooting anybody. So his first statement says is that his truck was borrowed. Okay. And it was borrowed by this Danny guy, and it was gone for way too long. And that he knows this Danny guy because him and Danny used to do work for that fool, pointing to a picture of Mario Saldana. Danny asked if he could borrow the truck back in January, like a month before the murder. And he said Danny purchased a new battery and an alternator for the truck. I'd see if that's true. Okay. Which Tenon then felt locked in to help him. So then he lets him use his truck. And he's saying that Danny knew that there was a key in the ignition since they had used it to do landscaping jobs together. And now supposedly those landscaping jobs were for Saldana. Okay. And he's saying that he said he was upset with Danny because he did not bring his truck back in the time frame he was told it would be back. He said he did not see the person yelling from the green truck was Danny because they knew him. And you're using the words they. It's like there was more than one person. Like, it was very interesting. But he did not actually see the person. He was asked if he recognized his tire was no longer in the back. And he said, yep. So think about that. If he's truly saying he recognized that his tire was no longer in the back, and he said, yep. That doesn't make any sense because the tire that would have been in the back would have been from a different set than the ones that were actually on his vehicle. Right? It's interesting right there. He was asked if he talked to Danny after that night. He said no, because Danny did not bring his truck back and he does not have his phone number. He was asked if Danny was white or black, and then he doesn't write the answer to the question, whoever did these notes. Fucking wild shit, man. He says, he was shown a picture of John Biggerstaff and asked if that was Danny. He said no. He said he did not think that that was him. Tennant said there isn't a whole lot he can tell us other than it was his truck. And for him to know that that was his, like, are you talking about that you showed him like video and he's like, oh, that is my truck. I don't know what else to tell you besides that. And that he was not driving the truck. He was asked if he was in the truck and he said no. He stated, all I know is Danny had my truck to move some tile or parchments or something, and that is it. He then stated Danny left his black Mazda at Potomac and took the truck from there. And now that doesn't make any sense, because then you have to ask yourself, how in the world, Henry, did you get your ass the fuck to the restaurant then? If he took your truck and left his black Mazda at Potomac. Because I thought it was that he got your truck from the restaurant. He said, to my knowledge, to the best of my knowledge, Danny had my truck. Henry stated, we, the police, have pictures of his truck and he was not in it. Like, he's like basically telling the cops, listen, you have the pictures of the truck. I'm not in it. He stated anything he say, he is going to be messed up because he can't say Fernandez Saldana took his truck. Because it's like, you want me to say that, but I can't say it because I didn't see that happen. I know what he means by that. That's like how Sheldon kind of said something in it. He said it was one of his rims and tires left at the crimes scene, which was fucked up. And so then you guys want me to believe that this man knew that. And then decides to then take a tire with him that would get the fuck out of here. He then stated Danny used his truck to repo someone's car and Tenen did not want to participate. So he agreed to let him stay at the restaurant because he did not want to be involved. Okay, so what he means then is he would have left his black Mazda at Potomac. He gets in the truck with them. He doesn't want to be involved though, so you're going to take me to this restaurant. He said someone pulled up in two-door black Mazda. Someone pulled up in two-door black Mazda. And then what he would mean by that is that somebody then went to Potomac to get the black Mazda, pulled up at the restaurant with the black Mazda and said, hey, your truck's going to be somewhere else. Go down, walk over there and go get it. Tenen then stated, there is nothing else I can tell you. Detective Cullen asked Tenen what his concern was with telling us the truth. God, I really wish I could hear this whole thing because this was a 3-hour interview, supposedly. And this isn't enough time. So it went from this, he gets a lawyer, and his lawyer then says, all right, let's see if we can get cut a deal for you. You tell them everything that you know. And you can do second-degree murder 15 years. And everybody else is going to go and do life. But the only thing that he could give them was that he's never met Shanna Gardner, never talked to her, and only talked to Mario Saldana. So what he's going to cough up is that I am actually the shooter. I did the shooting. So I lied about this whole thing about like their little confession here is going to go directly against what he said. Does that make sense? So that's going to be interesting. Like I said, Jose is going to have a field day. Yuri's math teacher. Woo-wee. All right. Lana girl, smash that bell for me, please. I just smashed it for you. Woo-wee. You guys, they needed that tire. They needed that tire to put the pressure on. The tire also gave them probable cause to then get probably a bunch of search warrants. So they need to see what the tire was used in for search warrants. Whatever the tire was used in for search warrants, woo-wee. So I could sit here and show you guys how my brain works and pull up the search warrants to see which ones were involved in that. But then thinking this is only going to take a week, there's no way. There's a lot of people involved in here, like this timeline. But the state wanted to say this is just like, they're trying to make this just like God, this is so obvious. Mario Saldana hired Henry Tenen. Henry Tenen told us that he's the shooter and the killer. Okay. And case closed. And we have some checks that he wrote after the murder and that these checks were for the killing. And I just have so many more questions. So Henry Tenen's going to have to be asked, okay, when did Mario Saldana approach you and say, hey, I want to hire you to kill Jared Bright again? When did that all transpire? Okay. And you were just perfectly fine with it. You were like, All right, yeah. You can pay me you can pay me in checks and you can pay me after the fact. Like Henry Tenen wouldn't know where Jared Brightigan would ever be. Henry Tenen wouldn't know like the route that Jared would take. Henry Tenen wouldn't know what time. Henry Tenen didn't do this. When I even say didn't do this alone, I mean physically did not do this alone. Not just brains. What seems more plausible to me is that Mario Saldana borrowed Henry Tenen's truck. And then who's this Danny guy? And why did Henry Tenen bring him up right off the rip? And he's gonna have to say, "Oh, this is what I was told to say if I was ever approached." You don't think that if I was ever approached to say like, "No, you're gonna ask for an attorney. You're not gonna say a word." I just can't believe that it was like, "Hey, if anybody ever asks you, this is what you say." I'm just saying, if you're hiring a hitman to do this, like you say you did, after your truck goes viral and it's all over the Jacksonville news outlets here, like I'll show you that. Let's see what the date of that would have been. Okay, here you go. Video. Found it. Found it. Videos. Oh, wait, actually, image. Found this on one of Tenen's relatives' Facebook page. Is this a blue F-150? How do I make this bigger? Hold on one second. Henry Tenen. I thought they would show the body cam or the nope. Okay. Have you seen this truck? Here it is. Right there. Police have suggested that Mr. Bradigan may have been a target, and they previously released still images of a dark Ford F-150 truck that they believe is possibly connected. Okay. And this came out April 14th, 2022. All right. So they're putting this out there. So, there's a reason there's a tire in the middle of the road. So we think in that aspect, we think he was targeted. It was specific. Mr. Bradigan used this route all the time. Whoever killed him knew the route. Mr. Bradigan was working as a manager of user experience at Microsoft. Somebody out there knows what happened or knows somebody that is involved. So this right here, you're going to sit here and tell me that this came out, okay, April 16th, and April 2nd is when you would have moved the truck. And after you had it all, you're going to be associated with this truck and the tires. Oh, hearing was pushed to 1 p.m. today. Oh, okay, perfect. The murder was in February. They're saying, have you seen this truck? We're asking we'll give you $30,000, all information. So this is all over the place. And then we're going to sit here and say that, guess what? They hid the truck. Okay, they hid the truck instead of, I don't know. And then they took the tire that would have been matching the tire that everybody knew, because it was all over like the news stations, that there was a tire left in the middle of the street. Dark blue, brown, tan trim running boards, 2004, 2008. You see? Look at that. They got it right. It's 2004. And now you look at the stock. So this is your stock image, right? But then the image that they used also with the stock image, they use the actual surveillance camera one. This is how you do a poster, not how Moscow Police Department did their poster. Okay. That should tell me everything I need to know about how good that camera must be. Anyways, so we're going to sit here and then say that then this truck's tire just was out there for months on the lawn. Or you realize that it was in the trunk of your Crown Victoria. You're just like, oh my God, I can't have this on me. So let me just put it on the lawn. No, I think it was put there to see if somebody would then drive the tire to go pick up the tire and see what somebody would do with it. What type of the type of concealment that you would go, or would you be like, what the fuck? Would you take that then to like where the truck truly is? And put it back with the truck? Would you? I think they were seeing what was going to happen, and nothing happened. Nothing fucking happened. Nobody did anything. They just left this tire there, and they're like, all right, well, I guess we're going to go talk to these people now. I don't know. Guess court had to wait until that jury selection was over for the day. We're basically looking at a fall trial date. So, I don't know. All right, guys. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace. This tire was planted. planted.